right, you guys want to hear about the bachelor party? We fly out to Vegas late Thursday night, and the flight attendant starts feeding me Jack and Coke the whole flight that she didn't charge us for. We get there, and I tell you that hot air hits different walking out of the airport after 1, 3, 4-ish something Jack and Cokes. And I have a friend from Arizona who also came to the bachelor party, so he drove out there and was picking us up from the airport, and their parking situation is confusing, and we were playing like Where's Waldo for a while, and we got our steps in. We finally find him, and he's driving a Ford Maverick, and there's 7 of us. It was a intimate ride back to the Airbnb. So we pick up a bunch of beer, we go back to the Airbnb, we stay up way too late drinking, hanging out, and then we wake up way too early because we're on Minnesota time, and that's very early Vegas time. Except for my friend from Arizona, he did not wake up early any of the times. We let him sleep in, and we went out and got breakfast drinks, and then he came down and met us at like the 3rd casino we were hopping to down the strip. Then we ended up at this place called Blondie's, which has this like unlimited drink happy hour that we partook in. And there was this huge bachelor party from England there, and we started getting in this US-UK drink off. We played a bunch of drinking games with them. They got some fun drinking games over there in the UK. We ended up playing like this version of Flip Cup, except you gotta chuck your cup at random people. It was fun. I took a nap on the table, I think, for a little bit. Anyway, I wake up the next morning, and they're telling stories about the night before, and one of my buddies is like, yeah, and then Jordan, I walked into the bathroom and he was crying because the chick in the orange jumpsuit wouldn't sleep with him. And I'm like, I do not remember that. Like, not you, Jordan, Black Jordan. Like, all right, there was another guy named Jordan there, and apparently this guy walked up to this random group of girls and just took his shot, and it didn't go well, and he took it real hard. Got a little misty-eyed in the bathroom while we were all playing drinking games with a bunch of British guys. The next day we go to Speed Vegas, and we were like racing those really fast go-kart things. There may have been a few collisions, and one left me in a lot of physical pain, but at least nobody fell out of the go-kart this time like the last bachelor party we were at. And they all pitched in so I could drive a Ferrari on the racetrack, and that was fucking sweet. Then we went to Fremont Street, and it poured, and we could no longer be like, yeah, but at least it's a dry heat. A little bit of moisture, and it is no longer a dry heat. So we got those really big long islands that they put like 85% liquor in. It might be $25, but that is the best $25 you're gonna spend on booze in Vegas. Then I kept losing a bunch of money at blackjack, and the Asian dealers with the really thick accents kept insulting me, but it felt like it was in a loving way. They were actually hilarious. It was a lot of fun. The roulette dealer, on the other hand, not as much fun. Decided to try roulette. Never done it before. The roulette dealer didn't really explain the rules to me, so I was trying to figure it out. I'm like, oh, people are distributing their chips. I'm gonna try to distribute my chips, and apparently I distributed them incorrectly. He just like swipes them off the table. He's like, you can't do that. You forgot. I'm like, I didn't forget. He's like, you forgot. Just own that you forgot. I'm like, I didn't forget. I never fucking knew in the first place. He's like, no, you forgot. And even the lady next to me was like, I don't understand the rules. Can you explain to me? Because she was trying to help me out because she could see he was being a dick. And he's like, no, I'm not explaining the rules. You just forgot. But speaking of forgetting, he forgot to check all of the other bets, which I had another chip on the table that he forgot. It was on red 23, and somebody put another chip on top of it. Technically wouldn't have been a legal bet now because I didn't have enough chips on the table because, he had his little temper tantrum. It probably wouldn't have mattered, except it landed on red 23. A 35-1 payout. He put his little marker on top of my chip and the other chip on top of it, and then he pulls the one chip up and he realizes it's mine there, and he throws it off the table. He's like, that's not a legal bet. I'm like, you spun it. It's legal. You should pay that out. I've been drinking, and occasionally I get a little feisty, and I was maybe doing that, and so the pit boss comes over, and the pit boss was getting feisty, and the dealer lied to him. He's like, he bet after I said no more bets, and I'm like, how the fuck did I bet after you said no more bets? Well, my bet was underneath another bet. Anyway, my buddies were like, maybe you should just go cash your chips out, and we'll take care of this. I went and cashed those chips out, and then I came back, and they paid me a whopping $35, but hey, we beat the casino. They're still being dicks about it, but a win's a win. Moral of the story is, fuck the sand dollar on Fremont Street. Those guys are assholes. Dealers at the Golden Nugget are way better. They wanted to go to the strip club because, it's a Vegas bachelor party, and that was a mistake because we are, first of all, way too poor for that shit. And my God, the dress code requirements are ridiculous. First, the driver's like, oh, they're not going to let you in with a white shirt, and of course, one of our buddies was wearing a white shirt. So he changed his shirts with one of our other buddies who wasn't going to go because he's, gay and sober. He's a very, slender man, and my buddy he changed shirts with is not, so he looked like he was wearing a Baby Gap tee. Then we get there, and that was apparently the least of our dress code problems, and they're like, you're gonna have to buy a shirt, and the shirt that they had available for sale was a white shirt. So we went home and played cards like the wild 30-something-year-olds we are. And the next day, we went to the pool at the Flamingo and got day drunk in the pool. I don't know how we afforded to do that, because again, my God, how does anybody afford to drink in Vegas? Their prices were really testing my commitment to alcoholism. And we ran into our British bachelor dude party people at the pool again. So that was a good time. Then we went back to the strip, and we were walking around for a bit, and Taylor, who does a podcast with me, we weren't sure he was going to make it. He was struggle busting pretty hard by then. Then we were walking through Caesar's Palace trying to find water, which they were trying to charge us for, and I'm pretty sure we got propositioned. There was this lady, a little bit older than us, sitting on a bar stool who didn't look overly organic if you know what I mean. She was wearing this little skimpy dress that barely covered her nipples until we were walking by, and then they weren't covering her nipples anymore. This is, mind you, inside the entrance of Caesar's Palace. We were walking by a little while later. She was having a conversation with security, so yeah. We went and saw Absinthe. Great show. Highly recommend it if you're out there. Absolutely loved it. One of the highlights of the trip. Then we went back to the Airbnb, and some of us stayed up way too late again for the plane that we had to get up on in the morning. It was a rough ride home and was a rough week of recovery. I am not 20 anymore. But it was great. Nobody got arrested. Aside from my go-karting accidents, nobody got seriously injured. We didn't kidnap a guy and steal his car this time. I consider it a win all around. And since you guys asked, that was my bachelor party.